right, let me start with, of course, sharing my screen. The next, I don't know exactly, maybe 1 hour, maybe 30, maybe 45 minutes, I don't know exactly. I'm going to tell you all about the Copilot Studio and how to build the autonomous agent. I'm gonna share some best practices. The tool is pretty new. Just welcome in the agentic world. Well, that's a phrase that's been hearing a lot lately. But I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to show you something of building the autonomous agent in Copilot Studio. All right. Okay. First of all, who's me? Well, this may be some kind of other picture, but my name is Rob Kuijpers. I'm working for GAC Business Solutions. That's a Microsoft partner here in the Netherlands. I am a CRM enthusiast. I've been doing that for like 25 years, something like that. Love to talk about the combination of AI and CRM. Create a lot of content, love to create videos, got podcast shows, write blogs about that. And I'm one of the biggest Top Gun fans there is. So I'm not wearing my flight suit today, but when I was in Prague a couple of weeks ago, I love to wear the original flight suit. So yeah, Copilot, that's my thing. Okay, let's talk about Copilot. And Copilot has been around, and I think everybody, when I give demos with my customers, everybody knows Copilot and knows the word Copilot. But what can you do with it? In the phase that we are in right now, we are more in the adoption phase. So Copilot is really in the adopt phase. It's in your Office 365 tools, it's in Word, it's in Outlook, it's in Teams, it's in your Dynamics biz apps like CRM or Business Central, and everywhere you can find Copilot. You can find Copilot basically in every Microsoft tool that you have available. The next phase is, okay, when we are going to extend the already available Copilot. So we're going to extend the Copilot, which is in Office 365 tools. If we're going to extend the Copilot for sales, right, which lives in Dynamics 365 sales, and then we move into the last phase, and that's okay when there is really a return on investment. So when a Copilot that you have created is gonna add money to your company. If we look at Copilot and we look at agents. Currently, I'm the owner of of Copilot licenses within Microsoft 365. So I can use Copilot within Word, or I can use Copilot within Outlook. I can use Copilot within my CRM application, Dynamics 365 Sales. But this Copilot always supports me. What's happening right now is that we are moving it. Basically, it's my personal agent. What's happening right now is that you can create agents that are working for your company, or are working to support a specific business process, or they can even work cross organization. What I try to say is that a Copilot is basically, it is a personal assistant. I cannot copy myself. There's only one Rob Kuijpers. And I'm using my Copilot. So when I'm using Outlook, Copilot supports me. It works on behalf of me. There's a big difference within the agents, because agents, they are autonomous. They are proactive. They can work on behalf of a process or a company. And the most important thing about agents is that you can scale them, because I am not scalable. I'm just one person. There's only one Rob. But when you create an autonomous agent, you can scale this agent. So this agent can work for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I do not work for 7 days a week, and I do not work for 24 hours a day. And that's the big difference between a Copilot and an autonomous agent. Okay, but what are agents? If we look at the concept of agents, when I look at the sales, I'm working with a lot of sales reps within my company, and back in the old days, the sales rep, they had a tool, and it was called CRM. In CRM, they could store their leads, they could store their opportunities, they can create campaigns and whatever. But those are the old days. And then in basically last year, all the sales, they got a Copilot. They got like a personal Copilot helping them with writing emails or finding opportunities or summarizing incoming emails and all that kind of stuff. So they got a Copilot. They got one Copilot. They got a Copilot when they were working in Teams. They got a Copilot when they were working in Outlook, and so on. As from this year, because still we got the same sales rep, they still have the Copilots within the CRM, the Outlook, the Teams, or whatever. But what is happening is that the sales rep and the Copilot, they are overseeing a team of AI agents that are working on behalf of them. They are qualifying leads, all that kind of stuff. So what is happening is that a sales rep is using Copilot, and the Copilot is basically the new UI for the AI. And with Copilot Studio, you can create 1 agent, 2 agents, 20 agents, something like that. Don't matter how many agents you got for every process, for every business process, or for every department, you got your own autonomous agent. And what is happening is that the sales reps that are using Copilot to communicate also with the agents. There was a podcast within where Satya Nadella was as a guest, and he said that the biz apps that as we know today, like CRM, like Business Central, like whatever, the GUI and the UI of those biz apps, they will disappear because basically the autonomous agent, they are starting to work all the business logic from the biz apps. It's transferring to the autonomous agents, and that's a big change that is happening also this year. Okay, but what are then Copilot agents? A lot of important words in this sentence. First of all, they are autonomous, so they can work on their own. They automate business processes, so they can do stuff for you, and in that way they increase your productivity maximum. And they're using the large language model, so they're using the large language models available, and they're combining it with the generative AI, and they help you as a human being. You can build them also in the Copilot Studio, in the Agent Builder, but you can also build them in Copilot Studio. So there you can, let's say now, I don't want to say develop, but then you can configure and create your autonomous agent, and you publish it, you push it towards your applications, your biz apps, your website. You can push it to maybe your Copilot agents which you are using in Microsoft 365. You can push it also towards your biz apps within Dynamics 365 or even your Power Platform. And your Copilot, your autonomous agent, they live on one of the four places. Okay, but then what kind of agents can I build? Well, you can build simple ones, and that's basically an agent that retrieves information. You can ask them a question, and it retrieves information from some kind of a knowledge source. It can give you summary. It can summarize. It can ask. It can answer you simple questions. That's just a simple agent that you can create. The next step is that you create an autonomous agent which not only retrieves the information from a certain knowledge source, but also can perform actions like Power Automate, like creating using a Cloudflow to do something in maybe a biz apps, and also replacing the recurring task that you have as a user. That's already a little bit more advanced. And then you get the autonomous agents, and they can work independently. They can plan dynamic. They decide for themselves what they are doing. I'm going to show you later on in the session, okay, what are the important things, what are the important settings within Copilot Studio you have to set before you can create the autonomous agent. So with Copilot Studio, create simple ones, You create the advanced ones. You can use no code at all. You can use the pro code. So you got all the different levels. Okay, and what can you do? Some agent and some scenarios that you can use. You can create an agent which is like an IT help desk. You can ask questions. Okay, how do I connect to the company network, or how do I don't know, ask for extra leave or something like that. Ask a question, retrieve the information somewhere, and give the answer back to the user. It's a simple one. But you can also add like autonomous agents that you can ask, okay, what is the status of a certain project? Or when you want a new laptop and you need an approval to be sent to some kind of a manager, something like that. There are all agents that you can create. The more advanced agents, and that's maybe a lead generation agent, and that's one of the 10 autonomous agents Microsoft has built for us, or a customer support agent identifying new cases and issues, trying to solve them and communicate back to the user that has sent an email or added a case on a portal or something like that. And that's a more advanced agent that you can create. Okay, but how does it work? Basically, it starts with a trigger. I'm going to explain you later also in this session that before the Copilot Studio we had the Power Virtual Agent that was triggered by sending a message. At this point, the autonomous agent, they are getting triggered, for instance, by an incoming email. And you have given the autonomous agent, you have given them some kind of instructions. Okay, what do you have to do? How do you act when something comes in? And then you have to instruct your autonomous agent. Okay, you have to take action. You have to maybe search for some kind of order in Business Center, or check the credit limit, or check a lead of an opportunity in your CRM system. And you have to react back. You have to do something in your business, or you have to confirm maybe the customer send an email or something like that. Trigger the instructions. You have to plan, you have to learn, you have to instruct your agent, and it has to do something to communicate back to the user. And you got all types of agent scenarios that you can use. You can use it business to employee. Create an agent for your employees, solving issues, asking, replying to questions, maybe onboarding, maybe new employees, and will start on the 1st of the month. You give them their agents so that they can ask questions. How do I get lunch, or whatever, something like that. You can all create agents for that. But also the business to consumer, to schedule or to manage your bookings, to manage your claims or whatever, to generate leads. And your business to business, also the managing, onboarding a new supplier. So maybe you want to create an agent when you will start working with a new supplier. You can ask the agent, okay, how else this stuff is working. Okay. Then the steps you have to take to create the autonomous agent. There are like 6. You have to create the agent. You have to feed them with knowledge. You have to create topics, the variables, the entities. You give them the actions, the triggers, and you have to publish. Like in 6 simple steps, you can create very quickly your own agent. All right, let me show you. First of all, you have to set the foundation. The foundation of your agent. All right. If we look at it, what Microsoft did, and that's what Microsoft is doing in like every part of the Power Platform, you can use the templates. You can use a lot of templates. They are easy to use. You can use them as an inspiration, but there are continuously coming soon new templates. So tip number 1, use a template. The next one is when you are creating the agent, you have to give them a name. Okay, that's obvious. Okay, but what is important in all of the creation process of creating an agent are your instructions. Your instructions are super important. Why? Because your Copilot agent looks at the instructions or the instruction of the agent. In this case, for instance, I say, okay, provide clear answers and inspire the customers. I have created an agent is assisting and advising my customers on diving adventures, creating and getting diving courses. What is important for the agent is do not use technical diving jargon, so words and stuff like that. I don't want him to get technical. Those kind of instructions are important for your autonomous agent because what you type over here on your instructions is how your Copilot agent is going to respond. You can say, okay, I want you to respond on an informal way or a formal way. Those kind of instructions you put over here. Avoid vague language. Use examples. Tell them, okay, what not to do. Just please put a lot of effort in writing down the instructions. And then a very important one is this is basically the difference between the Power Virtual Agent, which was like a chatbot, and it was a reactive chatbot. It reacts, it was sitting there doing nothing. And when there was a message coming in from a user, it responds. This Power Virtual Agent is chatbots which lived like for 99% on your website. It was interacting on simple rules within some kinds of boundaries. Okay. But now you got your agents, and your agents are proactive. They can work with complex tasks, and they operate within predefined boundaries. But you can also give them more freedom, like using the whole World Wide Web. And what is important is this setting within your Copilot Studio within your agent. If you set this setting to classic, basically what you are creating is just a chatbot. And this will come back later on also in this session, but what is important is you have to set the setting to the generative, to the preview. And that way is that you give that, and on that way you can give your agent, you give him the freedom to decide for itself, okay, when do I use which action? When do I use some kind of a knowledge source? When do I create a new lead in my CRM system? You basically give him a lot of freedom. A very important setting and when you are creating the agent. The second one is you have to fill the memory of this agent. You have to give him the knowledge and the boundaries. This knowledge is really important because the knowledge is where your agent gets all the information from. And you can feed them and you can add like different knowledge sources. Basically what you can do is you can upload or you can create public websites where the agent can find the information. You can add complete SharePoint locations within your organizational tenant. You can use Dataverse. That's a very nice one. You can upload or link towards Dataverse tables like your CRM system. You can say, okay, there is our leads, my leads table within my CRM system, or my account, or my opportunities, or my cases, or whatever. You can say to your Copilot agent, okay, this is your cases or your leads table, and you can use all the information that is in that table. But you can also upload files. Maybe you got some big instructions, like in a Word file or in a PDF file. You can also upload different files within your agent. Okay. Another important one is allowing the AI to use its own general knowledge. And this is an important question, because do you want to give your agent only permission to the given knowledge sources, like your Dataverse table, like the PDF that you uploaded, like your own company website, or do you give him permission to also use all the general knowledge available online? And this is just a simple setting, just a simple toggle, but it's a really important one, because when you enable him, you give your agent the freedom to use the large language model and all of the online available content, in this case regarding about diving, that they can find online. And that is why this you basically give him the freedom to use all the information, if it's right or if it's not right. So what we can see, if you want to build really a successful agent, first of all, do not enable this toggle, this option right away. Just play with it. But my advice is, okay, please create first of all an agent that only uses the data sources that you have been given. Okay. Something else, because knowledge is really important. You can also use suggestions. So maybe you are creating more agents. You're as a company, you probably, as a sales rep, you are using like a whole field of agents. So you can get suggestions. Okay, maybe you want to use these knowledge sources. Or maybe also they are really, when you're creating an agent, you are working as a user, you are working with all kind of office products. They know that you have been looking in like a PDF or in a Word document or in a PowerPoint file. You are working with these documents throughout the days. So what Copilot Studio is doing when you are creating an agent, they are looking over your shoulder and they see, okay, he is working with a PDF file. And maybe when you are creating an agent, they suggest, okay, maybe this PDF file comes in handy when you're creating this agent. And also the improvements. Also this is also in the preview, you can feed your agent with a Dataverse table. But the Dataverse table basically is just a table with a lot of different fields. Take the leads or the cases. There are a lot of fields in there. But for an agent, for an autonomous agent, maybe it's difficult to understand the structure of your database, of your Dataverse table. And what you can do now within Copilot Studio is you can fine-tune your knowledge sources. So you can say, okay, you can explain the table that you are using. In this case, I'm just explaining that this is an employee device. You explain what is in which field and how are those fields are working together to give the autonomous agent the information that it can use to answer the questions. And also, of course, the analytics. Okay, you can get insights when your autonomous agent is operational. You can get insights. You can look at, okay, what are the knowledge sources that are used the most, or maybe they are not using at all. So you can remove knowledge sources and you can continuously tune your autonomous agent. That's also really important. Don't create an autonomous agent once, publish it, and don't look at it anymore. No, the really successful agents, keep tuning them. Okay. So we have created the agent, we added the knowledge, and let's look at the different topics. Because topics, we still know the concept of topics. They existed already in the Power Virtual Agent. And what are topics? Topics are like maybe in this case a diving course. Maybe when I asked the chatbot on my website something, can you tell me something about diving? The chatbot responds. Or if I said in the previous session, there was the chatbot, he said hi, okay, then it was triggering the conversion start. Perfect. And what a topic is it's still the same within the Copilot Studio as it was within the Power Virtual Agent. It's basically a bunch of logic. Okay, when there is a certain phrase, it gets triggered. You have to send a message. You ask for, in this case, your age, and then basically, depending on the age given, you have to give another message, or you go in within a certain path. Basically, the topics has nothing to do with AI. Topics is living within Copilot Studio or in the Power Virtual Agent for a couple of years. But why is it now important, these topics? Because, okay, let me explain something about the trigger phases. And then again, we got this setting, yes, classic or the generative, the preview. When you set your autonomous agent in a setting, you set them to classic. Basically, what you are doing is you're creating an old school chatbot. Because then you got your trigger phases. And like you see over here, okay, this chatbot is triggered when they find something in the phrase, like in a diving course, or learn to dive, or scuba diving, or diving class, or whatever. As soon as this message comes into the chat, boom, this chatbot gets triggered. But when you set it to the generative, what is happening with your trigger phases, you don't have trigger phases anymore, but you have some kind of description. And there comes the description and the importance of the description again. It says, okay, this tool can handle queries like diving course or learn to dive or whatever. So now you are creating a very brilliant autonomous agent. So if you now type into the chatbot, okay, I want to learn to dive, or I like diving, I want to dive at beautiful places in the world, boom, then this topic is triggered. So these triggers, those are really important. And also the most important setting is set them from not use classic, but use the generative. Okay. We got your topics, we got your variables, and we're going to use variables in your topics. In this case, for instance, we're going to use the case. So what can you do with a variable? You can capture the information that is given by the user. So if the chatbot or the agent asks for my age, okay, I will give him back my age, and he puts the information that the agent receives, he puts it in the variable age or in my variable name, whatever. And you get topic variables, which are variables that are limited to the scope of the topic. And you have global variables, and you can use these variables across all the different topics that you have within your agent. Variables, basically, it is nothing new because they were already existing in the Power Virtual Agent, and you can making sure that you can store all the information that a user has given throughout the conversation. But then we have something new. Then we got the entities. And what the entities, what they are, they're like units of information, like it still has name and age and whatever. But the beauty of the entities is that the agent itself, it can recognize the type of information given. Instead of the variable, which you have to say in the topic, ask the question specifically, what is your age? The user responds, and he puts the response in the variable. What happens now with the entities is that, okay, basically what we have is an entity, like in this case, a city. If the user is saying somewhere in the conversation, so not replying to the customer or to the agent, where do you live? No, the user just says out of the blue, saying, okay, I love New York City, for instance. The agent is brilliant, and he says, okay, wait a minute, I can smell, I can see the word NYC in this case. Okay, let's store the value of New York City, let's put them in the entity city, or Vancouver, or whatever. And that's a very brilliant one. So that gives the agent also the freedom to get information from whatever text and put it in the different entities. And when you're creating an entity, that's also the smart watching. That's what the smart watching option over here. Okay, it's enabling and making the agent even smaller, so it can understand your natural language, and you can also train it. So in this case, I got my diving experience. Okay, what is your diving experience? Okay, is it medium? But you can also give the synonyms for that. Synonym of medium is average or moderate. So you can also train your agent with the synonyms. Why are we storing these entities? Why are we storing all of this information? And then we come to the next phase, and that's basically it's the actions. And that's when your agent is really working for you. When we look at the actions, then you can say, okay, let's do something, send an email, or do something in my CRM system. And you can create a lot of different actions within your autonomous agent. And again, these actions is also the difference between a typically chatbot, an old school chatbot, which is reactive. And then you have to train and say to your chatbot, okay, you got like a different set of rules. And when the user says A, you have to do action B. And then, and within the Power Virtual Agent, you have to call the actions from the topics. Now we got the autonomous agent. And we got a lot of different actions. Sending an email, creating a lead in your CRM system, adding a document, whatever, adding an order in Business Central, stuff like that. And what the autonomous agent does, it's a smart agent. So what it does, it's going to initiate the right action at the right moment. And the agent itself decides when it's time for the action. The agent knows from the conversation within your chat, the agent sees, okay, wait a minute, this user it is interested in taking a diving course in this case. Okay, let's add a lead into my CRM system. It's not because the agent was instructed to do so. It was because in the description of the agent, we were stating, okay, create a lead when you think there is a really interested, there is really an interest from the user of taking a diving course. And again, this setting is really important. If you set this setting to classic, you are basically creating a chatbot. If the user says A, you do action B. But if you set it to the generative, then you give your agent the freedom to make sure to decide, okay, when it is time to call the action, when it is time to trigger another topic, when do the agent wants to use which knowledge, which file, which database table. This is when you are creating when you are setting this to the classic, you are creating a old school chatbot, and you are not creating a autonomous agent. Okay, now what kind of actions can you use? You can use pre-built connectors, Power Automate flows. You can create your custom connector. You can use APIs of whatever tool that you are using within your organization. You can use all kinds of actions like the connectors towards you can send Outlook mails automatically. You can add rows into your Excel. You can add leads within Dataverse. You can use basically every single table within your Dataverse environment. So like that's the environments sitting underneath your CRM application. So you can use all the different connectors available. And basically those are the same connectors that are currently also available within your Power Automate. Again, what you also can use is like a Power Automate flow. So you can give your autonomous agent the possibility of creating and using a Power Automate flow, using all the connectors that you have available over there and all the logic that you are used to and using within Power Automate, you can also use it within your autonomous agent. Like adding a row to a Dataverse environment, like your CRM application, sending an email as a response to your customer. So you can also just use the Power Automate, the cloud flows. And you can even use the AI builder prompts. So in this case, and this one also here, the sentiment analysis, you can feed text to Word this prompt, so you can classify the text, making sure is there what what is also the sentiment of the text that of the user saying and typing to, or the email is coming in. Okay, how do I react to an angry customer? Maybe the agent wants to react and respond differently to an angry customer as to a happy customer. All these kind of actions you can set within your autonomous agent. And we were talking about the entities, and there are the entities again. So throughout the conversation, the agent is collecting all kinds of information, your age, the city where you live, your name, whatever. And all of these entities, you can use them in the different actions, in your Cloudflow, in your connector, in your Outlook connector, when you are responding back to the user, and you can use these actions of these entities to give input to your actions. All right. Important one, the actions. But now comes the most beautiful part of the autonomous agent. We got your triggers. And back in the old days, when your agent or your Power Virtual Agent was just a chatbot, and it was just sitting there waiting until somebody typed in a message within your chat window. But now we got triggers, and triggers is the connection towards the rest of your organization. Like I said, in the old days, we had you had to ask the Power Virtual Agent a question within your chatbot. Perfect. But like humans, when do you ask yourself the question, when do you get triggered? Are you waiting for somebody is asking you something? No. What is you are getting into action when you receive an email, or you get a Teams message, or you got like an entity or something like on a SharePoint list or whatever, or you get an incoming file, then you are starting to work. And exactly, the autonomous agent is working on the same way. So what we have now is they got a lot of triggers, and these triggers they trigger your autonomous agent. You can use triggers, for instance, when an email comes in, it even supports Gmail. It's looking at, okay, when is a SharePoint item created, when is a file coming in, when there is a new response on your online form created with Microsoft Forms, when there is some kind of a data alert coming from your Power BI dashboard, when there is a page coming up in something added in your OneNote, is there an event published in your calendar? Is there something happening within Dataverse when a lead is created in Dataverse, when a case is created in Dataverse, something like that? Boom, it triggers your autonomous agent. And this is a really important one, because in this way you can trigger your autonomous agent, and not only within your chat window, but you can also trigger it within incoming mails or forms or whatever. All right. And then you have to publish it. So the onboarding of your new employee is ready. So now you have to onboard it. And you can push it again to all different channels. Maybe it's an internal agent. You can push it towards your Microsoft Teams. Maybe it's an external and you push it towards your custom website or your own website, or maybe on Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever, or Facebook, or whatever you want to live. You want your agent to live, you can push it towards. But also when sometimes it gets too complex for your agent, and you just want to hand it over to a real person. In that case, you can also connect it on your CRM system, like Dynamics 365, customer service, or Salesforce, or ServiceNow and Zendesk. So if it gets too complicated for your autonomous agent, you just hand it off towards a chat session with a live agent. And of course, the analytics. And also the last tip is, okay, you have to take a look at the activity list. Okay, what is your autonomous agent is doing? You have to check on it sometimes. All right, so those are the different steps, the 6 steps that you have to take to create your autonomous agent. And I've created one, of course. This is the Diving Adventures chatbot of the Diving Adventures agent that I have already created. And here you're going to see all of the different steps that I just talked about. Your knowledge, your topics, your actions, the activity. You can also see it also here on the overview. You see all of the knowledge, the actions, the mailing, save a lead in my CRM system, the triggers, its response when a new form is filled in. And let me test the agents. Let me ask him what are the most beautiful. Type the most beautiful places on the world to start diving. All right. Let's see. And now this is just testing. Okay, you see. Okay, it's searching through all the different knowledge sources that I have given the agent. And he was looking at the Paddy website, and he say, okay, you have to go to Ireland, cool, or to Kazakhstan. It's okay. It's interesting. Okay, but let's ask him. Okay, are there any risks when diving? Okay. A little typo over there, and again, searching the knowledge sources. What it's doing now is okay. I got also some diving instructions. Okay, yeah, okay. It comes with risks, some decompression, night diving risks. Okay, and here you can see the reference. Now it's looking at my scuba diving information, the PDF document that I uploaded on this autonomous agent. Okay, but I'm convinced I want to start diving. And what it's now doing, that the agent is identifying, we got a diving lead over here. Let's lie about my age. Let's say my name is Rob. And now you see that it's decided to trigger the Cloudflow save a lead for this diving course. Okay, he identified my name already. And he says, you have been successfully registered for our diving course. On my screen over here, I got my email. Hey, there's a new diving lead. Okay. What has happened now? Switching towards my CRM system. Let's take a look at the different leads that I have over here. So let's open the leads. I tested it during the previous session, you see. Now it's 5:43. And it has created a lead within my CRM system. And basically, this is automating your process. What Microsoft was doing is they added like 10 new autonomous agents already into the environment. They are not available yet, I believe, but 2 that you have to take a look at, and I will share my slides within the chat after the presentation. I'm not going to show you the videos right now, but you have to take a look at the sales qualification agent, and that is researching incoming leads, like the diving lead that just was entered into my CRM system. It's researching the leads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in your pipeline, and they're giving the priorities based on your CRM and the public websites. They are qualifying and giving the priorities on the different leads for you. You don't need, in this case, a marketeer. The second one that I would like you to watch is when you are in the customer service department. There is a case management agent. So when a case comes in, it can look at creation. It can help you with finding the resolution and follow up and trying to solve the case and close the case, doing all the communication with the person who has entered or registered the case within your organization. 2 of the new autonomous agent Microsoft has created for you are related towards CRM. And that's it. And that is what Satya Nadella said, and what I was beginning my session with. The agent will replace all of the software. So CRM systems, they will exist. ERP systems, there will be ERP systems. But the business logic, it's transforming, it's moving away from your biz apps towards your autonomous agents. And there they will live the business logic, and they will decide for itself in the next future, okay, I'm going to create a lead in my CRM system. I'm going to create like an order in Business Central. So the CRM and the ERP system that we know today, the next years, they will stay as a database, but not anymore as an application that users will work in. They will work with Copilot. They will work with the autonomous agents. And there's only one option. And just a scene from my favorite movie, Top Gun 1. There's only option. You have to embrace AI. Maybe it's a little bit scary, and you have to start trusting your agents, but you have to lean on the Copilot. You really have to embrace AI, the Copilots and the agents, because this is the future. All right, let's find my mouse again over here. That's it, and that was the stuff that I wanted to show you all. No, if there are any questions. I will drop the link towards with my slides. It is in the chat right now, so you can take a look at the slides and the presentation that I used. And you can also find within the presentations, you can click to the videos of the lead and the case agents. Sandra, back to you.
Yes, thank you very much. It was really interesting, and I took a lot of inspirations, and I think I will try something of that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I like the video, of course.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's nice to do, and thank you for inviting me to share the knowledge. So thank you.